Is the 12-day Israel-Iran war really over? Who won and what comes next? 12 days of missiles, airstrikes and global panic followed by a fragile ceasefire. The so-called 12-day war between Israel and Iran, brokered by former U.S. President Donald Trump, may be over for now, but beneath the surface tensions are still simmering. Who fired the first shot, who won, who lost, and most importantly, is peace even possible? Let us break down what really happened and what the world should expect next. Chapter 1. How it all started. It began with months of rising tensions and covert attacks, but the situation escalated dramatically on June 13 when Israel launched direct strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities at Natanz and Isfahan, targeting above-ground installations. This was followed by an even bigger escalation at Israel's request. The United States officially joined the war, launching powerful airstrikes on Iran's deeply buried nuclear sites, including the Fordow enrichment facility. Donald Trump, now back in office, claimed the U.S. obliterated those facilities completely. Iran responded by launching missiles at the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, the largest U.S. military base in the Middle East. The world braced for a wider regional war. Chapter 2. The ceasefire. In the confusion, surprisingly within hours, Trump posted on his social media platform announcing a complete and total ceasefire had been reached between Israel and Iran. He called it the 12-day war, saying it could have destroyed the Middle East if it had continued, but the ceasefire did not last long. Just a few hours later, Israel struck again, this time targeting a radar station near Tehran in response to what it claimed were 2 ballistic missiles launched from Iran. Iran denied it fired those missiles. Trump reacted with visible frustration, criticizing Israel for violating the agreement. Later, Trump spoke with Netanyahu and announced that Israeli planes would return home and that the ceasefire was back in effect, but the question remained, who really launched those missiles? Was it Iran or someone else? Chapter 3. What did Israel achieve? For Israel, this war marked several strategic milestones. For the first time, Israel directly attacked nuclear sites deep inside Iranian territory, not just proxies or foreign allies. It demonstrated its capability to carry out high-risk missions far beyond its borders. It also achieved something rare. It convinced the United States to actively participate in a Middle Eastern military operation initiated by Israel. This level of operational cooperation is unprecedented in recent decades. Netanyahu celebrated the mission, calling it a show of Israeli strength and determination, but not all nations agreed with Israel's justification. Some questioned whether Iran posed an immediate threat or whether this was a preemptive strike based on speculation. Chapter 4. The status of Iran's nuclear program. So did Iran's nuclear program survive the attack? The United States claims its strikes destroyed underground nuclear facilities. Satellite images confirm that surface buildings at Natanz and Isfahan were hit, but the International Atomic Energy Agency says it cannot yet assess the extent of damage to underground sites like Fordow. The fate of over 400 kilograms of highly enriched uranium remains unknown. Iran insists that its program remains intact. Iranian officials say they had anticipated such attacks and have already begun recovery efforts to resume normal operations. At the same time, the Iranian parliament has moved to suspend cooperation with international nuclear inspectors. This indicates a shift toward greater secrecy and less transparency. Chapter 5. The political aftermath. Each side claims some form of victory. Trump presents himself as a peace broker, saying he prevented a full-scale war. Netanyahu presents himself as a strongman who defended Israel's red lines. Iran positions itself as resilient, having survived attacks from 2 military powers. Meanwhile, European powers including the UK, France and Germany tried to mediate but failed to prevent the war. They are now pushing for renewed diplomacy, possibly a return to the 2015 nuclear agreement, but Israel remains firmly opposed to any deal that legitimizes Iran's enrichment capabilities. Chapter 6. Is peace possible, or is another war coming? This ceasefire is not a peace treaty. The core issues remain unresolved. Iran is not stepping back from its nuclear ambitions. Israel sees those ambitions as an existential threat. The United States has now demonstrated a willingness to strike inside Iran if provoked, unless a new agreement emerges with credible inspections and clear red lines. Another war may only be a matter of time. This conflict is like a chess game where the next move could come from any direction and trigger a new round of chaos. Conclusion. So is the 12-day Israel-Iran war truly over? Yes, for now, but real peace still looks distant. This brief war reshaped regional dynamics, raised the risk of nuclear conflict, and exposed the fragility of diplomacy in the Middle East. What comes next will shape not just the future of the region but the stability of the entire world.